Empty calendar?
It is probably your minimum night stay requirements holding you back. We're going to tell you why we don't use them and what we do instead.
Hi, I'm Sarah Karakayan.
And I'm Annette Grant.
And together we are
Thanks for visiting.
We've been hosting for well over a decade, welcomed tens of thousands of guests, and earned thousands of 5-star reviews.
Our portfolio continues to bring in over 1.5 million year over year, and supported not only by the industry's leading brands, but also some of the biggest media outlets.
And we're here to help you with your furnished rental. Airbnb's algorithm rewards availability.
Think about it. The OTAs, online travel agencies, only make money when we get bookings because they get a portion of our bookings. So they like it when we're available to be booked. If you're not available because of your minimum stay requirements aren't making you available, then they're not going to favor you. Like, it's pretty simple.
You're not going to show up.
Yeah. For example, if you have a 4-night minimum stay requirement, but the traveler in that market wants to book for 3 nights, you're not even going to show up because you're telling the OTA that you're not available. This means less bookings, lower occupancy, and this is the shocker to a lot of hosts, less money. You think by forcing a 4-night stay is going to make you more money, but all you're doing is appealing to no one out there because they want a 3-night stay.
We have looked at so many calendars in the last month with hosts that are telling us they're not getting bookings, and when we peel back just one layer, we see that they have outrageous minimums. 4-night minimums during the week, 3-night minimums on the weekend, 4-night minimums on the weekends. And we're like, well, wait, like, who's coming to stay? I don't know about you. I would love to have 4-night minimums or 4-day weekends all the time. I don't have those. It's like they are working against themselves with that availability.
And we're not just saying this, like, we think the traveler wants, as a for example, right? They want a 3-night stay. Like, literally there's data out there for several years that can tell you how a traveler books and stays in your market.
And that's where we were when we say we peeled that one layer back, we would go into the host dynamic pricing and see what is the average stay in the market. And a lot of times, and this data goes back years, it was 2 or 3 nights and they had 4-night minimums. They're not even available.
All right, so let's give you an example of what we mean by this. So in our previous chat about the minimum stays in general, this host has a 4-night minimum that they placed on their calendar. They get a 5-night booking. Awesome. Wow, aren't I so smart forcing a 4-night stay?
I'm excited. Yeah, no, you feel like you're winning right now.
You feel like you're winning. But then, now, there is a 2-night gap between this 5-night stay and this 4-night stay, and guess what? You have a 4-night minimum. So that 2-night gap, no one can book it. They're just like these dates just hanging out there, not bookable because you've set these minimums in place.
Yeah, and what happens is many hosts are not actively managing their calendar. So these nights, 2 perfectly amazing evenings that could have been booked and profitable, are completely non-existent on the OTAs. No one even knows it's available because you're not actively managing it. And so that is why if you don't have these minimum stays on, you don't have to worry about continually going back, checking your calendar, making sure those dates are open. So if there aren't minimum stays, this automatically, those 2 dates would have always been opened, always been like bookable for an amazing guest to come stay at your property.
All right, now some hosts purposely set these minimum stay requirements to make it easier on themselves, or maybe their cleaner, or maybe their inspector. And if that's truly the goal, less management, fine. But if your goal is to make money, then these minimum stay requirements are hurting you from your goals.
What we hear over and over and over and over again is hosts want to make more money and get more bookings, and this simple thing is blocking them. So let's think about how you can. This is business. This isn't about convenience. This isn't about ease. This is about working hard and being profitable, okay? This isn't
Annette,
this isn't passive income. It's like, if you are in business, let's be in business to make money and have, the most open calendars possible. So how can we think about, we understand that these might be some large steps that you're taking, like, oh my gosh, I've always had cleanings on certain days. I've had this certain team. It's time to grow. If you want to grow your bottom line, you've got to grow your team. So what we can do here is have a backup cleaner. So many hosts let the cleaner dictate their calendar because they can only clean on certain days or they don't want to do back-to-backs. I'm not letting a team member dictate my business, okay? So have a backup cleaner. Heck, listen, if you really want to make more money, get out there and do the cleaning yourself. I've cleaned a lot of toilets, made a lot of beds, and it's because I wanted to have my calendar as open as possible. My cleaner needed to go to a doctor's appointment, needed to do something. Guess what? I didn't block the calendar. I just went and did the work myself. So either have a backup cleaner or know how to do it yourself, and also have a backup for your backup.
Pricing strategies over minimum stays.
Common host fear is if I don't have these minimum stays, all of my weekends are gonna get booked up, and then I'm gonna have open weekdays. Well, that should be okay. Your weekend pricing is probably too low. I know from firsthand experience, like my weekends, the pricing in the beginning was too low, raised it, and that is where all of the profit came from. And those weekdays were gravy on top. Let's still, where we are, obviously, depending on your location, seasonality, it's a lot of differences here, but we're just, again, talking about opening up your calendar. Don't be fearful that days are gonna be gobbled up. That is where your revenue management strategy has to be dialed in. You have to understand if those days are going to get booked, will they be profitable? And you got to make sure that you have them priced properly.
And so it doesn't matter, like our example is weekends versus weekdays. And if that's not your market, that's fine. But it really is like business 101. If something is getting gobbled up, the price is probably way too low. So don't use your minimum stay requirements to control your revenue. Use appropriate pricing and pricing strategy to be able to control the calendar to make sure that you're making the most profit when demand is the most high. In a lot of markets, that's weekends. And then when you get those weekday bookings and make different pricing strategies for those weekdays, that's icing on the cake.
We're going to go on a rant here for a little bit. As we're chatting with, we're not chatting, we're actually coaching these hosts because they want to be more profitable. And they continually tell us that like their market, their home, their pricing, their this, their that, and it's like you do not set the rules for the traveler.
Well, it's interesting because they'll say that and then we'll say, great, show us where the market is telling you that these are facts, and they can't. So we get it, like you are in your market, you live in your community if you host where you live, but you can sometimes look at data and you'll be like, wow, I never would have guessed that the average is 3 nights and you're over here blocking your calendar for 5 or 6 nights.
Here's what I love. Even if your average in your market is a 5-night, like just because you have yours on 1 night doesn't mean you're not going to get those 5-night stays. That's where I think there's some confusion too of you can always go more. You know, you can always book more nights, more than a minimum for the guests. And this is what I always love to chat with hosts about. Have you ever stayed anywhere for 1 night?
Yes.
They all say yes. Are you an amazing guest? Yes. Have you ever paid a premium for 1 night stay because something was going on in that area, that concert that you had to go to, that graduation, that business meeting, that XYZ? Yes, yes, and yes. I asked them, have you ever stayed anywhere for 2 nights? Yes. Have you ever paid a premium? Yes. Are you an awesome guest? Yes. And so they also like really think about yourself and how you travel. There are so many times 1 night stays, 2 night stays, maybe 3 night stays. Like that's the flexibility. There are travelers coming to your town and they don't want or need, they're not even going to see you if you have those restrictions up.
Well, and a lot of you out there are really focused on hospitality. We just talked to a host yesterday who she was like, I'm really good at hospitality. I love guests feeling welcome. Well, how unwelcoming is it to set parameters on your calendar that the majority of the traveler in your market doesn't need? So if you want to think of it like that too, like, and here's the thing, the fear sometimes comes from whether it's not making enough money or a lot of times setting a 1 night stay, allowing people to stay 1 night, that fear comes from there'll be parties. And here's the deal, like if you price it appropriately and you're an involved host and you set other parameters in place, restricting your revenue potential based on a fear that's quite uncommon is a big miss for you as the host who is trying to make money in your short-term
And we've
rental.
seen hosts that have had a 1 night stay, a 2 night stay, a 5, a 7, a 9, a 2 week that have all had
Issues.
potentially, not the most wonderful guests. But here's the deal. The market is going to determine the rate you can charge, the days that the guests are coming, what nights will be in demand. So you just have to understand that you are not the ruler of the market demand.
Right. The market
Yeah.
is.
And guess what? You might have, we're not saying that we have minimum night stays for certain times. So we're not saying completely, but they are based and backed by data. Again, let me say that again. You absolutely, if you're going to have minimum night stays, we want those to be backed by the data and your market data, not just your data that maybe you got from elsewhere.
All right, so let's recap all the things. This is good. Like, please take this and implement it into your business, or at least make the decision, nope, I want less management, I want ease for my family, that's why I got into this. Great, you're the business owner.
But also after you've looked at the data, please look at the data that's available to you, because it might turn that, you might notice that profitability really does outweigh that convenience. And guess what? If you're making more money, you can maybe have more of a team.
Right. Yeah, there's all sorts of things to think about.
Nuances here.
But remember, Airbnb rewards availability. So does Vrbo. They all do. They all make money when properties get booked. So if you want to know how to get up on that first page or first page impressions or get clicked, be available, okay? Calendar gaps lead to lost bookings. So that 4-night minimum, you got a 5-night stay, but you have this 4-night stay over here. So in the middle of these 2 nights, now they're unavailable. There's some serious calendar management you have to keep doing to make sure you don't have these straggling dates hanging out on your calendar. If your goal is revenue, don't limit guests from booking. Okay, so you've got to release this need for minimum night stay requirements if your goal is revenue. Use pricing to control demand, not minimum stays, and the market decides. Your job is to optimize.
So let us know in the comments, are you using minimum night stays? Are you reformed long minimum night stay requirer? But let us know. Let's get the conversation started there. We want to hear about you and your property.
Also, if you want to keep the pricing education going, you got to check out our video about how to use Price Labs for beginners. It is the software we use to optimize our pricing.
And that's where we were just chatting. If you don't know this data of what your minimum night stays in your area, what that booking window is, you definitely want to check out this video, because it's going to help you make these decisions based on data over drama and facts over feelings.
With that, I am Sarah Karakayan.
I'm Annette Grant, and together we are
Thanks for visiting.